Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call our council meeting to order. If you would, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on our agenda is our auditor's financial report.
Okay, let me get there. So for March, we have a beginning net balance of $5,074,770. You've granted additional appropriations for the general fund of $3,200. No miscellaneous expenditures to date, leaving you with a balance available for appropriation of $5,071,570, and you have requests before you of $5,357. As far as coming up with the calculation here at the top, we will be getting our circuit breaker numbers probably May, I would say, April or May, and so I'll update that to reflect the actual circuit breaker when the time comes. As far as the general fund revenue, nothing particular to report here. We are 16.7% of the year complete, and most of the revenues are at or above that level. I didn't see anything of concern. And then on the fund balances, general fund at 15.7, and I believe our self-insurance fund was hovering around 8.8. So other than that, I didn't have anything to point out. Unless there are questions.
Any questions? None. We'll move on to our treasurer's report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We entered the month of February with an account balance of $168,560,542.31, an interest of $559,282.61. The average interest rate was 5.59%, and the weighted average rate was 5.59%. There was a correction done. So the packet that Jennifer sent out on the interest summary distribution, that was corrected. The paper you have in front of you is correct, and what's on the screen is correct. If anybody needs the correct one, I have extras. So the general fund received 58% of the total interest for February. And that concludes my report.
Any questions about the treasurer's report? Hearing none. Do we have any public comment to come before us about any agenda items on today's agenda? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and hear second reading on ordinance 2024-03 CL.
I'll make a motion we approve ordinance number 2024-03-CL.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Murray, a second from Councilman Richard to approve ordinance 2024-03 CL for our lit revenues from the Park East project. Do you want to go ahead and explain, Matt?
Yeah. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2024-03-CL. The purpose of this ordinance is to provide a pledge of the county lit revenues in the event that the TIF revenues from the current economic development areas, both the southeast and the McCarty Lane, in the event those TIF revenues are not sufficient to meet the needs of the new bond that's being passed by the City of Lafayette, then the council is pledging to provide additional lit revenues to cover the shortfall. That's only for a Series B bonds. There are two series of bonds. Series A bonds are up to $8 million. Those are wholly the City of Lafayette's responsibility. The Series B bonds will have a principal amount up to $14 million. It's anticipated, as I said, that the Southeast TIF funds should cover that portion. The county's pledging both the Southeast TIF, which is the first level, and then the lit revenues that this ordinance will pledge will be the backup plan. So this is a backup plan. It is not anticipated that it would be needed, but I'm not making a recommendation one way or the other whether it will be. I'm not a prognosticator. But I do believe that it's a pledge. It's not a firm commitment that it will be using the money.
Okay. Commissioner Murtaugh.
Good morning. Again, I passed out at the last meeting a proposed multi-year budget for the TIF revenues, and that was a very, very conservative estimate. And as you can see from those numbers, you know, the TIF can clearly afford to make those bond payments. So I don't foresee any issue whatsoever in which we would have to tap into lit funding to make those payments. But I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to roll call.
Vernon?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Murray?
Aye.
Dullum?
Aye.
Basham?
Aye.
Hamilton?
Aye.
Underwood?
Aye.
Ordinance 2024-03CL passes 7-0 on second and final reading.
Okay, thank you. Next is our consent agenda, which includes the minutes from our February 13th meeting. Any items that need to be removed, or do I have a motion to approve as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Murray, a second from Councilman Basham to approve the consent agenda as presented. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Next, we have additional appropriations. First up, we have the 4D incentive fund for the prosecutor.
I make a motion to approve Title 40 Incentive Fund 8895 appropriation as presented.
Second?
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Dollum, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton to approve the 4D Incentive Fund 8895 appropriation in the amount of $5,855. Discussion.
Well, it says that it's for furniture and supplies as needed.
Okay?
I know that they are doing some remodeling over there, so.
Right. Any other questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved. Next, we have TEMA Hazard Warning Fund appropriation.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Hazard Warning Fund 4940 appropriation as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilman Murray to approve the Hazard Warning Fund 4940 appropriation in the amount of $80,000. Discussion. Good morning. Turn your mic on, Smokey, please. Thank you.
Sorry. This is money the commissioners put in our account for the upgrade and repair of sirens.
Okay. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Fund 9100 grant appropriation for the villa.
Mr. President, I would move that we accept the grant for the Tippecanoe Villa for a total sum of $120,750 for various things, minor equipment, and therefore she'll explain.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Basham, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton to approve the Grant Fund 9100 appropriation in the amount of $120,750. Discussion. Good morning, Deanna.
This is the first time for this grant from the state, from FSSA, and it's kind of a broad spectrum, and we kind of diversified it with several different things. Your minor equipment has got that's a refrigeration unit, two-door refrigeration unit for the kitchen. some outdoor furniture for the residents. It has, then we're also taking out all of the carpet. The big amount, the 89.7, is taking out all the carpet in the facility and putting laminate floor in where the carpeting is. And then in some of the other common areas, like the activity room and the chapel, we're putting laminate in there, replacing the flooring that's currently in there. So.
Okay. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
That is approved. Thank you. Next, we have Fund 1178, Capital Fund for the Parks Department.
I'd like to make a motion to approve non-reverting capital fund 1178 appropriation in the amount of $150,000.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Richard, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton to approve the non-reverting Capital Fund 1178 appropriation in the amount of $150,000. Discussion. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning. Hey, thanks for having me. These funds came from the commissioners, and they're to be utilized for capital projects. This year, we didn't get into that fund last year, and it's $100,000 each year, which we definitely appreciate. But this year, we've jumped into it. We're going to use those for a new shelter house at Tecumseh Trails Park and some upgrade on some of the roads and parking areas. And also, we'll resurface a tennis court and a basketball court up at the Battlefield Park using these funds, too. So, but anyway, and then the other ones, I don't know if we can jump over to the next one, or are we just right here on this 1178?
We just have a motion on the floor for the 1178 at this point.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion about the appropriation for Fund 1178? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, we have Donation Fund 4125.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Donation Fund 4125 appropriation in the total amount of $7,500.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Richard, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton, to approve the Donation Fund 4125 appropriation in the amount of $7,500. Discussion.
This particular fund, we call it the small gift fund. It's used by mainly the naturalists for bird seed, educational books, and sometimes Mary Cutler, our naturalist, gives out awards for her volunteers and stuff. So that pretty much takes care of that small gift fund.
Okay. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, we have the Naturalist Program Gift Fund.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Naturalist Program Gift Fund 4126 appropriation in the total amount of $7,500.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Richard, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton to approve the Naturalist Program Gift Fund 4126 appropriation in the amount of $7,500. Discussion.
This particular gift fund also, obviously, it says Naturalist Program. She'll use this particular funds for Outdoor Explorer, pay for tents that she puts up for that program. This is what we call the large gift fund that came about through a large donation from a family several years ago. So it's come in handy. I believe the only time that we can use that is for naturalist programming and other things for the naturalists. So it comes in very handy.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, we have the famous Battleground Fence Fund appropriation.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Battleground Fence Fund 5980 appropriation in the amount of $10,000.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Richard, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton to approve the Battleground Fence Fund 5980 appropriation in the amount of $10,000. Discussion.
It is a famous fund, is it? But anyway, this particular funding helps us pay for anything that involves a battlefield fence and anything inside the fence. And actually, I talked to, because I needed some background on it too, even though I've been around for a long time. I found out the state of Indiana started that fund for us because of in 1978, I think, we took that property over, the Parks Department took that property over from the state of Indiana, and so that was like a seed fund to take care of some of the expenses. It started at $40,000, and we still have 11,000 plus in there now. So I don't know what happens when it's all gone, but it's there, and it's been helping us. We use this particular, like I said, to repair the fence if it needs repaired, but also to take care of the actual monument too, which every once in a while need cleaned and regrouted and stuff. So.
Well, I figured if it's in the state constitution, it's got to be kind of famous, so.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund appropriation.
Mr. President, from the Recorder's Office, the Records Perpetuation Fund, 1189 appropriation, I would move that we approve $425 for the workman's comp.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilman Basham, a second from Councilman Richard, to approve the Records Perpetuation Fund 1189 appropriation in the amount of $425. Discussion. Doesn't look like we have a representative here.
This is one I asked her to submit.
Okay.
She's not required to have council approval of appropriations from this fund, but it is one that we would have done at budget time, and it just got missed, so I asked her to submit it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, we have additional appropriation for the clerk.
I make a motion to approve appropriation from the general fund, 1,000 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Dolam, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton, to approve the additional appropriation for the clerk from the general fund in the amount of $5,357. Discussion.
So I don't see Julie here, but this is for 2 software programs. This is our matching part of it, 20%. And it's a software program for the poll workers is one, and the other one is for campaign finance forms to make it easier. So the
Okay.
next appropriation will be for that grant.
Okay. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, we have the Election Security Fund 8335 appropriation.
I make a motion to approve the HAVA Election Security Fund 8335 grant appropriation as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Dolam, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton, to approve the Election Security Fund 8335 grant appropriation in the amount of $29,129. Discussion. Same deal.
Same thing, yeah, it's the 80%.
All right, any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, we have the medical inmate fund for the sheriff.
I'll make a motion that we approve the inmate medical fund 4715 appropriation as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton, to approve the inmate medical fund 4715 appropriation in the amount of $100,000. Discussion.
Good morning.
Good
So
morning.
this is a fund the auditor made us aware of that we did not know existed, that was ours. So we're just requesting it to be moved so we can use it for medical bills and things for the inmates.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or discussion?
How much do you say is in that account?
There was 130,000. And we think what happened before was, prior to Lorna, that maybe the account was dwindling down to nothing and the individual was told not to use it anymore, and it's since built back up. And
So is 130 in there now?
yes, after this, hopefully there's only 30.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
Positive thinking.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Lit Economic Development Fund 1112 appropriation.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Lit Economic Development Fund 1112 appropriation as presented.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Vernon, a second from Councilwoman Hamilton, to approve the Lit Economic Development Fund 1112 appropriation in the amount of $500,000. Discussion.
This is to wrap up the morgue. Maybe that's wrong to say, wrap it up, people. But anyway, this is to finish the project at the morgue. We did have it budgeted last year. We did encumber it, so we're just requesting it for now. The ceiling unit is here. We're waiting for some special fan that's supposed to be able to shoot the air up into the air. So it goes all the way up there. So hopefully, if we have some noxious odors, that they're not going to be hitting the neighbors or throughout the building. So basically, it's just to finish that project up. We do have the new cooler in, so if any of you want to stop in and see the new cooler, it is pretty nice. So.
Okay. Any questions or discussion from council? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that is approved. Next, do we have any committee reports? Any unfinished business? New business? Commissioner FYI.
Good morning again. Just three quick things. Legislative session wrapped up last Friday, and Greater Lafayette Commerce will be hosting their legislative wrap-up on Friday, the 22nd of this month. And so if any of you want to join, I have an extra seat. Kathy joined me for the last update, so just let me know. The e-waste collection day will be held again this spring. Again, we do that both in the spring and the fall. That's done as a partnership with the Partnership for Water Quality and the Tippecanoe County Solid Waste District. That's been immensely popular. We collect not only e-waste, but paper shred and meds that day. And again, that's April 6th from 8 till 2 at the fairgrounds. And this year we have a corporate sponsor with Purdue Federal Credit Union. They've been doing kind of their own event for paper shred for a long time, and they reached out and asked to partner with us on this. So we're looking forward to having them as a partner. They'll be providing a lot of volunteers, which will be very, very helpful. Also, this week is Purdue Road School at Purdue, so you'll see over 3,000 people in the community. This is the largest conference that Purdue hosts, so restaurants will be full, and make sure that you're extra welcoming to folks that you see in the downtown or campus areas over the next couple days. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment to come before us this morning?
But it's yours. Just a quick question and a clarification, and I think this is kind of like a public service announcement. The meds are always 24 hours a day. We can take meds to the sheriff's office still, correct? Okay, I just want to make sure that that was still there.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Any other public comment? Hearing none, our next meeting is April 9th, and I'll take that last motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
We got to say some favors.